Today, more updates in the silent war, plus proof that Q is in the White House. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. I want to thank each and every one of my subscribers like I do every episode. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible. If you have not hit the subscribe button yet, please come here to this landing page and click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as this information gets posted, you will be notified because as soon as information is made available to me, I make it available to you. Now, let's jump right into the Q board. Okay, so this is where we left off last night. And then around later that evening, we had more Q posts that were put up. And I'm sorry I couldn't get a video up sooner for that, but we're here breaking it down right now. Here's the next one. Q says, booms en route, blind, 5-5, green, underscore, 578C, DT, 324-45785SD, 4 DMP, Q. Okay. So a lot of that doesn't make sense to probably most people watching, but probably a lot of you are very keen on these things and picked up a lot of different little things. So first we have the booms. Booms are always, in my opinion, referring to big events that are about to happen. Now, we haven't necessarily narrowed it down to what exactly the events are, but there's been a lot of speculation about something going on that I want to talk about now. A lot of people have been commenting and pointing out that there's been a lot of mysterious booms lately. Now, that's something you can easily find anywhere you go, but maybe like if you watch a person like Secure Team 10, Tyler over there, he'll have his little segment where he goes over the booms that are happening around the world. And I will gladly give him a shout out. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, go check out Secure Team 10. But on a whole nother note here, let's just talk about what these booms really might represent. We have a lot going on. And it seems as though Q keeps pointing us to the fact that many flights are going down, ships are crashing, and I've talked to a lot of people who have a lot of different insights. Now, I actually had been contacted in one of the last videos in the comment section, believe it or not, by a contributor who points out that they formerly worked for the Department of Defense, and they talked about how in these ships, when we talk about the wiring and how they were all ran off of a central computing system, and then they had to go in and separate it because they realized how vulnerable it was to being overridden and hack attacked, basically. And is this pointing to that? Now, obviously, as we pointed out in my last episode, if you guys want to go check that out, you'll learn a lot about what we're talking about here, kind of, and it's right here, the QAnon coincidence or silent war. You'll figure out exactly what I'm talking about here, but the point is that there's been 5 officers who have been indicted under charges of dereliction of duty and basically manslaughter or endangering the lives of sailors or military men. So, and charged for the deaths of 17 different soldiers in 2 different crashes. One with the Fitzgerald and I think another with the USS John S. McCain. Obviously, there's a lot going on there. So, that in and of itself, I think, could be talking about the reason why we're putting out booms now. Now, a lot of other people have suggested that the booms are related to deep underground military bases, which are DUMBs for short. It's an acronym, DUMBS. And what they're referring to with that is that there's been a lot of speculation that those booms are actually underground bases being destroyed. Now, why would we be destroying our own underground bases here in America? Well, that's a great question. Could you imagine a situation where the deep state has taken control of certain facilities that belong to the government? And imagine in that scenario that those facilities have been turned against the United States and are being used against our best interests. If that were the case and they had been taken over hostilely, then they would have to be militarily taken back. Or we could be in the middle of a very, very covert war that is completely blind to the eyes. A lot of people have also suggested underground nuclear bombs testing or using them to blow up these facilities. And we're going to look at a little piece of evidence that was pointed out by an AN0N who wanted to point out this. Okay, so this is right near where the crash happened. So this is the Southern California border and Southern Arizona border. in the Gulf of California here. But what they point out is this odd structure that you're picking up here on the Google Maps. I'm sure you guys can see this. Now, why is this important? Well, a lot of people have pointed out to me and said, this looks like a collapsed base. And I have to be quite honest, it really does look like that for me. If you look at what everything is here, you have these, basically, these straight lines. A lot of that doesn't happen usually in nature with these curves, perfect curves. And what it looks like is that there was something there that was collapsed in on itself or is built up. It's hard to tell really because this is not the best quality graphic here, and of course it's Google Earth, so they're not going to like show us much. But yeah, I think that's very interesting. If you guys want to look this up, it's really easy to find. You can just go to Google Maps and start here at the top of the Gulf of California, and just scan down, and you'll see this clear as day if you look at it from the satellite image view. Now, what does this have to do with the booms? Well, is there a possibility that all of this is connected in the sense that these underground military bases and everything is all connected and a part of the silent war that's going on behind the scenes that we're not able to see? Now, would that be alluding to the fact that when he says booms are en route, but that we will be blind, we won't see them, right? And 5.5 is a signal for loud and clear that we have used many times throughout this Q post board. It's basically 5.5 means loud and clear as far as I've been able to put together, but you guys have a lot of different theories about that. Now, green underscore 578 and all this stuff. So I haven't been able to decipher this whole thing yet, but I have a few theories about what it might be. I have a feeling that this is a code, right? It's some kind of code to gain access to possibly some kind of DMP type device, which can stand for a lot of different things, but it can also stand for data management platform, and there's a company called Digital Monitoring Products that actually makes security systems in the United States, and they do a lot of things for fire monitoring and secure access to buildings, doing that kind of stuff. So is that giving the go-ahead to enter into some kind of digital platform or some kind of digital monitoring product? I don't know. I really would like to hear your thoughts in the comments because this is all breaking and we're putting it together as we go here. Now the next one, Q responds to his own post. He says, and this is not Q, this is Q plus, and it says device hold, comms transfer castle, chatter, rig for silent, Q plus. Okay, obviously Q plus is a different entity than Q. It's I think somebody a little higher up. My opinion of it to this point is that it's Admiral Rogers and that he is the one who's in control, because the last time that we had Q plus, and I encourage you all to go back because we went over this in my last video, coincidence or silent war. If you guys want to watch that, you'll be informed about what's going on with the Q plus phenomenon. But long story short, Q plus was one of the people who jumped on the Q board and rang the alarm bell basically by saying protect Trump, protect Trump, and gave his birthday. I think it was 6/14/46, and he said that twice. And then right after that, the next day, the story broke that the Secret Service caught a member of the press group, the guy who was driving one of the press vehicles in Trump's motorcade, was found to have a pistol on his person, which I'm not sure how much you guys are familiar with the protocols for working around the president, but I can guarantee you that none of those protocols call for unauthorized personnel to be carrying firearms when in that close proximity to the President of the United States. So obviously, something was picked up in a back channel communication by Q+. He rang the alarm bell. My thought is it's obvious to me, but it could be something different, is that it's Admiral Roger working from the NSA, where he has access to Snow White and the Seven Doors, our supercomputing systems that can collect metadata and in real time analyze so much stuff. They talk about certain programs that are in the NSA right now that collect everything in aggregate and put it all into these sniffer programs that find things on the internet, and then they assess them, and then they prioritize them for review by the central commanding actors at the NSA headquarters. So this is, to me, another point where you have Q plus, or in my opinion, maybe Admiral Rogers possibly, jumping in and saying, device hold, comms transfer castle, chatter, rig for silent. Now, I think, my opinion, is that the castle is referring to the NSA. So they're saying to come back, or that the comms that they're getting through the castle is chatter, and that it's being rigged for silent. So they want everybody to go on hold. That's just my take. I'd love to hear your take on it. This one popped up last night at around 2:15 Eastern time, it would appear. So obviously this was important enough for them to put it out that point at night. And it's definitely the lingo going back and forth. You have a Q communicating with Q plus, giving directive orders. But if you guys have any ideas about this other than that, please leave them in the comment boards. We have our own QAnon research board at the end of each one of these videos in the comment section. So I encourage you all to go down there and give me your theories and thoughts. But I'm giving you what I got right now. And so we'll go on to the next one. So the next one is referring to this New York Times article, and it says, "Here we go, Q." Well, here we go. The conspiracy theory that says Trump is a genius. Now, it's written by this person, Michelle Goldberg. She looks like a little Weasley snake in the grass to me. I mean, just look at her face. Golly. You know, some people just have these weird haircuts. They look like the archetypal devil worshippers that you see. I'm not saying that this Michelle Goldberg is, obviously, but I'm saying they look like the archetypal devil worshippers you would see in the movies. You know, like the weird ladies from those devil movies. I mean, I don't watch them really, but I've seen enough of them to know what the archetypal person ends up looking like this evil look with this pointy face and demon features. I don't know. That's just a whole aside to what this article is talking about, which this Michelle Goldberg goes on to say, talking about how Roseanne Barr hit the reboot on her show, and how she's been tweeting about how Trump has broken up, or a quote from her, has broken up trafficking rings in high places everywhere, and which is very true. And then they talk about Q, and they talk about how, you know, it was born last October. There's a Q level security clearance person on here. And they talk about how everybody, this is the key to it all, right? You know that they're fake and they're phony and they're just lying, basically, when they get up there and they start to pronounce things like, in the QAnon reality, Trump only pretended to collude with Russia in order to create a pretext for the hiring of Robert Mueller, the special counsel who is actually working with Trump to take down an inconceivably evil and powerful network of coup plotters and child sex traffickers that includes Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and George Soros. Yeah, that's a great way to wrap it up in a nutshell, but this person is going to actually use that to say that it's all fake and it's all phony and it has to be this outrageously big lie. And she quotes Jerome Corsi in here. She talks about how this whole QAnon phenomenon is basically is fake. And you know, you look at it, that this is a hit piece against Q. Now, let me tell you about how I'm going to prove, or Q proves, not me, that he's in the White House with Trump. Just in response to this article, which I think is hilarious. Now, this article goes on to say it's a conspiracy theory and that secret elites and kidnap children, classic archetypal is how they put it, in all Western culture. No. This is actually happening. So this person, this moron, in my opinion, Michelle Goldberg, needs to really wake up and smell the coffee, okay? Because this is real, and you are part of the problem. You're a part of the evil cabal if you're sitting here writing hit pieces against Qs, trying to inform the people about what's going on behind the scenes. Now, I mean, and you know they're fake when they go InfoWars, the website run by conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, who has close relationship with Trump and Roger Stone, has consistently promoted it. And it's just incredible to see the amount of work they're putting into debunking Q when all they have to do is look at a few different examples of the proofs of Q, and they'll see very quickly that Q is very real and that they are very much a part of the cabal. But they're evil and they don't care, and they just want to put this disinformation out there. So you guys can come read this article for yourself. They talk about how desperate we are to prove it. She says here at the end, their desperate conviction that they will be proven right about Trump betrays a secret fear that they will be proven wrong. No. See, I knew about all this before Q started posting this. These are things that were very well known to most people who are on the truther community, who are on the internet pre-Q, and who are doing a lot of work to do this research. And I've been doing this for years now, and I can tell you that this is definitely real. And what this person is saying, who's taken maybe a quick ancillary look at Q phenomenon from the outside, or is a part of the cabal who is covering for these evil people, either way has made a big mistake in writing this column. I wish her all the luck in the world, because obviously she's not sound of mind to be putting out this kind of disinformation, or she's been completely subverted by those who are in power. They call us a wild fantasy about your leader being a covert genius. Says you don't create a wild fantasy about your leader being a covert genius unless you understand that to most people he looks like something quite different. No. And that's another lie. To most people, Trump looks like a genius, and because he acts like a genius, and he is a genius, and he is helping our country get out of the craziness that we are in. Okay? So please understand this. Whatever this article says, pretty much for the most part, you can just know that the opposite is true. Okay? Besides maybe the direct quotes from Q. And she, in fairness to her, she does a pretty good job at outlining what's really happening, but she just puts it in this frame of being conspiratorial and completely, you'd have to be out of your mind to believe it. And that we're all just Trump sycophants who will take anything that we can to believe that he is winning. Well, here's the proof that Q is in the White House, in my opinion. Now, Q responds to that he just posted about the New York Times article. He says, would you believe they called the White House for comment prior to publishing? Q. There you go. I mean, how else would he know? How else? Give me one example of how Q would know that they called the White House for comment prior to publishing this piece. Who would have given that information to Q, unless besides him either being in the White House or connected to somebody who's directly in the White House? Okay? Miss, whatever your name is, Miss Goldberg, or Mrs. Goldberg, whatever your name is. How would they know that you called the White House for comment prior to publishing? If you can explain that in another article, I'd love to go read it, but I'm sure the New York Times won't let you print that. All right, now, Q posts in response to himself again here. He gives this article to Fox News. And we have had this real deadly trend here where we have a lot of crashes killing a lot of brave soldiers who are out fighting for our freedom as we speak. And this all only goes to prove even further that we are engaged in a silent war at the moment, and that moving those troops and activating those troops and moving them down to the border was for more than just stopping that caravan. I think it was for a lot more. And I made it very clear, again, if you want to go back and watch my last video, I go through this. I don't want to become too repetitive here, but I make it very clear that my theory is this. Okay, there's a lot of information. So there's a lot of people outside foreign actors who are trying to control and influence those inside of our country. Okay, now let's say that there's a lot of people in our country who get directives from outside foreign actors. Then let's further say that it's possible that those people who are getting directions from foreign actors who are working for the deep state or the Rothschild, Sauds, Soroses, you name it, What if they realize now that they can't use any kind of technology to communicate? That the NSA basically has that stranglehold. You can't send an email. You can't make a phone call. Even if you get the burner phones, I mean, we've cracked down on that basically. There's not many ways that you can do anything digitally and not leave a footprint or a fingerprint. So that in mind, where would you bring stuff into the country such as information, talking points, Bitcoin transfers? You can dead drop that kind of money. I mean, it used to be you need a briefcase with, or dozens of briefcases to carry a few $1,000,000 or millions and millions of dollars if you wanted to. Now, I mean, you could put $10 million onto a jump drive, okay? And that jump drive could also include encrypted messages. And that could be given to anyone at any time. And that's a part of what I believe that the whole digital currency thing, that's why you see this big plummet in digital currencies. Now, I played around in those for a bit, but I'm glad I got out at a perfect time. I made a good amount of money and it was fine. But now I look back and I look at things like Ethereum, that was trading at around 1,000, 1,200 a few months ago, and now it's down to 300 or so. Or you look at Bitcoin trading at 12, 15, 16,000 at one point, and now it's down to 6,000. And I think that they realized very quickly that they could use this for themselves to transfer money, to transfer secret money that nobody can keep track of. So obviously, that's what I'm thinking is happening. That's why we pushed down to the border. That's why we had to get down there. And who knows? Stuff like this could have a lot to do with it too. This could be things that we have or use that, or have been put there and are being used against us. Who knows at this point? Not enough information to confirm. So I'm going to leave it to you guys to let me know what you think in the comments. But that's what I think is going on the border, and I think that we are actively fighting it. And you see, I think a lot of these crashes, these birds that are falling out of the sky, the ships that are hitting one another, they've all been sabotaged, okay? And that's kind of where I think that Q's pointing us to research and investigate further, that there is a silent war going on, and it's being enacted as we speak, trying to shut down our ability to stop the flow of all of these things, not just the illegal immigrants who are trying to flood across our southern border, but all the myriad of other very detrimental and terrifying things, NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical stuff, anything that can be brought in across that border. A lot of people even were suggesting that those people may have some kind of weaponized virus, and that could be another thing. So there's a lot to be examined there. So I'm going to leave that pretty much for another episode, but we're going to get into a few things here. First, we're going to look at Trump. Now, what I thought was a great indicator, this is a post from this morning, and he's talking about this. He says, China, which is a great economic power, is considered a developing nation within the World Trade Organization. They therefore get tremendous perks and advantages, especially over the U.S. Does anybody think this is fair? We were badly represented. The WTO is unfair to the U.S. Now, the silent war is not just, I think, the hot war that's going on our border and things trying to be smuggled in through that southern border. I think it is this war with China, the war of words, the economic war that we're waging, where they've stolen hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, of intellectual property, and they've been running us at a huge deficit for a long time, basically siphoning money out of our country into their money and then into their country, and then taking that money and reinvesting it in our country and buying up all of our national assets. So and if you just don't believe me, look at Hollywood and look at basically academia, where they've infiltrated it there. And this is the war that's going on as well. So there's multiple fronts to this. It's not just one singular thing. It's a dynamic 21st century war. And as we see this developing, we see articles coming out that just hit Trump again and again. We have this Scott Pruitt under incredible pressure by everybody involved. They even get him saying something about how Trump he will listen more to when it is on TV. Well, why not? I mean, I'd perk up my ears when I hear stuff on TV too, for the simple reason that it's propaganda, and I want to hear what the propaganda is so I can know how to counter it, and I know how to break it down and let you guys know here on this channel what the truth or what the lies are, in my opinion. So obviously there's more to it than that. And Trump even goes on in another post here, which I thought's interesting. He says, do you believe that the fake news media is pushing hard on a story that I'm going to replace AG Jeff Sessions with EPA Chief Scott Pruitt, who is doing a great job but is totally under siege? Do people really believe this stuff? So much of the media is dishonest and corrupt, and it is. It is propaganda. It is mockingbird talking points that have been given to them. Just if you don't believe me, check out the Sinclair broadcast video where it's literally looks like what would be 100 stations or more across the country, all repeating the exact same talking point about how our democracy is under attack because of conspiracies and fake news. You think that's a coincidence? Or do you think it's them basically rectifying the fact that they are completely being outdone by people like me, people like Corsi, people like everyone, all the independent alt, they want to call us alt, I call us independent media journalists out there who are making a difference and reaching thousands and thousands, if not in aggregate between all of us, millions of people across the globe, not just here in America, and telling the truth, okay? And that's what Q is. Q is helping us to tell the truth. So let's just keep that in mind whenever we want to hear people like Michelle Goldberg tell us about how Q is a fake and Q is a phony and how she knows everything because she works at the New York Times, who obviously would never lie and would never tell propaganda. They would never do that. So we have definitely them to trust. Now, here's another one. I thought just in closing, I want to take a brief look at this story. Now, there's an update on this person who was missing, this officer from the CDC who went missing in, I think it was Georgia, I want to say. And this is really, really telling. So they found his body. A couple fishermen found his body on the Chattahoochee River. And now the story goes like this. They said they have no evidence of foul play. There's no blunt trauma. There's no nothing. But they said that they go on in the article and talk about how he's an avid stone collector, and they found him in running shorts with running shoes on, and they said it was quote unquote a drowning in the river. So definitely suspicious to me, even though there's no indication of foul play yet. That's the official report coming out, but definitely suspicious, especially given the fact that he went missing on February 14th. We all remember what happened on February 14th. That was the awful incident that happened in Parkland, I believe on Valentine's Day. So obviously, and I'm not suggesting that those have anything to do with each other. I'm just pointing out that that was the day that he was officially reported missing, even though he had not been seen since 2 days before that. Now, this guy's found in a river. They said they found gemstones in his pocket, and they said he was an avid gemstone collector. I still don't understand how you go out for a run and pick up a stone and all of a sudden you're drowning in a river. Nobody's really explained that yet. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. So you guys will have that to look forward to. But that's going to be pretty much it for this episode. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me. Thank you to each and every one of my subscribers. Remember, if you have not hit the subscribe button yet, please come here to this landing page and click the big red subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. It's the easiest way to support this channel. It makes a huge difference for me, and I can tell you right now, I really appreciate it. So thank you in advance to everybody who comes and does that. And remember, that's only if you have not pushed it, because if you hit the subscribe button twice, it will unsubscribe you from this channel. So just keep that in mind. Also, another thing here is that if you want to contribute, another great way to do it is to go down into the comments, because each one of these videos, as I said before, is like a QAnon research board at the bottom. We have thousands and thousands of great commenters, people who are actively on these boards every day, as in my comment threads of the video, putting together theories, talking out ideas, pointing out where I was wrong, pointing out where I was right, and sharing good words, good blessings, good prayers and thoughts and scripture. A bunch of great stuff goes on down there. So even if you don't comment, go down and read through the comments. You're most likely going to learn a lot that you didn't know previously, because there's a lot of great in-depth conversations going on down there. Now, if you're looking for another way to contribute, one of the best ways is to come over here to patreon.com. That's patreon.com. Search Just Informed Talk here in the search bar. You'll come to this landing page. You just click the red button to become a patron. Thank you so much to each and every one of you who has contributed. I really need all the help I can get, so thank you. To keep this channel up and running, I'm going to need as many people as I can to come here and contribute whatever you can to help me, so I can keep producing this content on a daily basis and getting better. As I said before, I'm going to keep dropping little hints here. I have a website that's in development. It's going to be great. It's going to be like a cross between InfoWars and Drudge Report. There's just going to be a lot of links to articles, and it's going to be kind of a narrated view of what's going on here with the Q phenomenon and with news in general that's pertinent to not just the Trump administration, but things happening around the world that we should keep an eye on. So that's in the works, and I haven't dropped the URL or name yet, but you guys will be really impressed hopefully when it comes, and I want you all to come support me there. But I need all the help I can get here. If you guys want to come contribute, that's going to make a big difference. That website should be coming in the next month or two, and you guys should look forward to that. But come here to this page. You can check out my rewards, check out my goal. We're making good progress on my goal, and check out the rewards where you can earn a chance for an email correspondence with me. You can get a chance to become a featured Patreon patron, have your name featured on an episode of Just Informed Talk, or you can come down here and check out, I have this awesome t-shirt. There's only a few of these left. If you contribute at the Gold Talk level, you'll have a chance to get this official limited edition Just Informed Talk is Trump QAnon t-shirt. It says Just Informed Talk on the front and is Trump QAnon on the back. So those are en route for everyone who has contributed, people who have had their everything processed and are waiting. The shirts should be arriving soon, and as soon as they arrive here, I'll send them out to you so you guys can look forward to that. But thank you in advance to everybody who comes here and checks out this page. I really can use all the support I can get. I got a lot of stuff in the works, so I really, really look forward to seeing you guys here, and thank you so much to everybody who already has contributed. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about here is the most important in my opinion, and it's going to really involve us just going over a quick Bible verse that I think is very pertinent to what's going on in these times of turmoil that we live in. And I just want to leave you guys with a little message about God and how he relates to all this. So first we're going to just do a quick reading here of Psalm 23. And it is called the Good Shepherd. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd. There is nothing I lack. He lets me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He renews my life. He leads me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even when I go through the darkest valley, I fear no danger, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Only goodness and faithful love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord as long as I live." Now, that embodies exactly what we have to view the Lord as in our lives. He is our good shepherd. He will lead us to green pastures. He will lead us beside the quiet waters. And even when we go through the darkest valleys, we will have no fear of the danger, for he is with us. So if we look to him and draw from him the ability to know that he is our shepherd and we must follow his lead, then we will always be okay. So I want each and every one of you to do me a favor. If you've been feeling down, if you've been feeling depressed, if you're having problems at work, or if you're having problems at home, or if you're just not sure of anything that's going on in your life, and you're having anxiety problems, and you're having whatever it is, depression, you name it, just say a prayer and open your heart to the Lord. And go look up Psalm 23 and just read it to yourself whenever you're feeling down. And draw strength from the Lord, because he is our rock, and he is our Savior, and he will deliver us as long as we look to him first, before we look to anything else. The Q phenomenon is great. Everything that's happening in the world is up for debate, but the one thing that is not up for debate is God's love and God's grace. because it will be our delivering factor in all of this to our eternal life with him. So please, if you don't take anything away from this, just remember that the Lord is the good shepherd, and that he will guide us as long as we stay faithful to him and put him first and try to bring light to the darkness and fight evil with good. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed. Make sure if you haven't yet, if you have not clicked the subscribe button, please come here and click it. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way you can join the Just Informed Talk initiative and get involved immediately. So thank you all for contributing and coming here and watching this video. But that's going to be it for me. I want to say thanks. I'm Craig. This is Just Informed Talk. God bless and Godspeed, Patriots.